Hey, your viewers and viewers, my name is General Red Strategist, and welcome to another of these little sort of short visual novel type games that I like to play from time to time. This is Graveyard Girls. It's actually apparently released on itch.io very recently, and fun fact, it's actually by the same people I think who made Tidal Blossoms. Remember that demo that I played quite a while back? Oh man, that reminds me though, that same dev team were also the ones who made Starlight Shores, which is another visual novel that I'm pretty sure I do have, which I've been meaning to get around to at some point, and I've completely forgotten to do so. So yeah, there we go. Who knows? Maybe you'll see that on the channel at some point. But yeah, this one came out. Actually, there was an email direct from itch.io about this. I guess maybe they have like a mailing list, or it automatically emails people who've downloaded Tidal Blossoms or other games of theirs before. So I thought, you know what? I'll take a look at this one because apparently, I don't know, it says it's about half an hour long, something like that. So it's got a vaguely Halloween theme, and you know what? Halloween's just been, so I may be a bit late, but screw it, we'll do it. Alright, so start. Let's just throw ourselves in there. There's something to do with scribbles in this one. I guess we'll find out eventually. Graveyard Girls depicts the complicated and traumatic aftermath of losing a parent during young adulthood. This topic has been addressed as authentically as possible. Okay, so warning, you know, potentially heavy subject matter inbound. If you're struggling with grief, you may not have a safe experience playing this game. Content warning, it contains strong language and mature humour, drug abuse, self-harm, mentions of suicide, alcohol use and sexual themes. This game is intended for players age 18 years or older. Viewer discretion is advised. Would you like to continue? Hell yes, because, well, last time I checked I'm over 18, so I should be okay. Alright, who are our characters? So, I'll try not to, you know, be kind of too silly throughout this, since I guess it's meant to be, you know, fairly serious subject matter. The leaves crunch below my feet as I make my way through the cemetery, counting each row that I pass. A frigid gust of wind catches my hair and blows it into my vision. I took it away carefully. I can't help but remember how he used to tease me about finding my long hair everywhere. I may just take the music volume down, because it sounds like it's going to get quite loud. So, you know what? There we go. So, that way I'm not competing with it. He'd always tell me how beautiful it was. Aha, okay. Character number 1. Once I found the section I've been searching for, I let out a sigh, although it's not of relief. The cold stone inscription stares back at me, expressionless. Jason Gray, beloved husband and father. As I read the name quietly to myself, I feel like he's greeted me, in his own way. What am I supposed to say? Nothing seems quite right, so I settle on the simplest of phrases. Okay, your name is L, and this is your father, so you're L Grey. Okay? Almost sounds a bit like Earl Grey, doesn't it? Okay, I promise I'll try and keep the jokes to a minimum. When it gets serious, that is. I mean, there'll be other moments probably where I, you know, get silly. I'm just thinking, you know, as I usually do with these visual novels, maybe I should have some flippin' voices. I should give them some voices. L. Maybe, oh god, I mean, my first thought was French. Shall I go French? You know, a bonjour, a papa. I made it. I know it's been a while. In truth, it's been too long. And yet, when she's in her own head, she just goes to normal voice. She only does a French accent when she speaks. That's the headcanon we're going with. The last time I visited, he didn't even have a headstone. I'm sorry. I should have come sooner. What am I thinking? Coming here isn't going to help. As if talking to a polished rock is going to bring any kind of closure. I turn to leave, but there's a magnetism to this place. As if he'd reached for my hand and said, "You're leaving already?" I gaze back at his headstone and whisper to myself, "You want me to stay? Fine." My mum always insisted that I be careful not to stand on graves when visiting cemeteries, but that was out of respect for strangers. This is my dad's resting place. I'd sat on his lap 1,000 times before. What would he care if I rested on his grave now? I know he wouldn't have minded. Oh, gas from my tea. Coming up my throat. Without another moment of hesitation, I brush away the leaves and sit back against his headstone. I lay my notebook across my thighs and settle into place. So I mentioned scribbles before as being like some sort of a game mechanic in this one, but I'm not sure what they'll be exactly. If I'm staying for a while, I'm getting comfy, oui? Well, I'm guessing not much has changed with you, oui? He'd appreciate that sarcasm. Dark humour was his thing. It's probably where I got it from. I'll just sit here and talk to myself, like a crazy person. Well, you know, if we're going for French, then that's the, you know, the right accent for someone who's a bit crazy. Talk about mum, stay positive. I mean, You don't sound like you're kind of positive at the moment. You don't sound like you've had closure yet. So maybe staying positive, you'll be kind of lying to yourself. Or should we... Then again, I feel like talking about Mum maybe is being a bit evasive. Okay. I'm not sure really which of these is the right response. Let's talk about Mum. Why not? I guess it's time to tell you what's been going on. You might not love what I have to say next. Oh, great. Well, that's lovely. You'd probably be a bit angry, at least I think you would have been. I'll try to keep it short, minuscule. So, you died, and no one saw it coming. One day you were gone. I don't think I've processed that yet, to be honest. Mom couldn't handle the pain, so she shut down. I guess that was a coping mechanism. She spent months crying over you. Okay, so this is actually months ago, this death. She barely ate slate or ept. Yeah, that's what we'll go with. So she barely slate or ept. I didn't expect this to be easy, but I thought I'd still have my mama to lean on. I convinced myself that I was lucky to have her, regardless of how she was handling this. That's what I kept telling myself on the worst days. We weren't alone either. People tried to support her. Aunt Cora wanted her to visit a therapist, but Mum locks... Try that again. But Mama locked the doors and ignored her phone. I tried to talk with her too, but it was like she couldn't hear me. She was a shell of a person, shutting everyone out. We never say A, because, you know, E.T., that's French for and. That's all I really remember from my high school French days. I thought she needed me. But when money she packed her clothes and bought a plane ticket. There was no warning. She said she'd be back in, what's the French for 2? 2 weeks. So she needed a vacation. Mom left, it sucks to say, but I knew she wouldn't come back. I've seen her a handful of times since. One of those times was to sell the house that you built. I still drive past it. I like to pretend that you'll be waiting on the porch having a cigarette or watering the plants. It's soothing in a strange way, like opening my favourite chapter in an old book. Pretending I don't know the ending. I pause to catch my breath. My mare's in an apartment on the other side of the country with a new boyfriend, but I stayed here. She helped with my tuition and rent, but she's gone. Honestly, if you saw her today, you wouldn't recognize her. I feel like I never really knew her. She left me behind. I think it's because I remind her of you. Wow, that's not nice. There's a hole in my heart where my mare used to be. I hated her. A part of me still does. I used to think it would be easier if she disappeared. Isn't that horrible? You know, this is probably meant to be a very solemn moment, and here I am doing my stupid French accent. Fuck me, saying it is worse than feeling it quietly. Papa, I spent so much time hating her. She took up all this space I had left in my heart. But the worst part of it all is that I think I forgot to deal with losing you. That's why I'm here today. Because the person I need to talk to most in this world isn't part of this world. I look skyward as I blink back welling tears. Huh. Aunt Cora used to tell me to think of you smiling down on me. I keep thinking how sweet she is to say that, but when I picture you, you're looking up. I know that sounds dark, but seriously, what's left of you is 6 feet below me. Cora wanted me to remember you in a happy way, I get that. I'm just too literal. I search for what to say next and wonder what he'd say if he were here. The truth is, I don't know what you'd feel. I didn't get a chance to know you better. Cora's words echo in my mind. That smile. What was your smile like anyway? And why did I try harder to preserve it in the first place? A frustration that I can't swallow begins to form in my throat. I stay silent, afraid that my voice will break and the rest of me will follow. I do my best to reanimate my dad's grin in my mind's eye, but there's nothing. A stray leaf dances in front of me before heading west with the wind. I push away the distraction and close my eyes, forcing myself to focus on his lost expressions. I try to revisit each part of him. His amber eyes, his perfectly straight nose, the way his eyebrows furrowed when I asked too many questions. Slowly I could piece him together, but he wouldn't assemble. Even his voice was a dulling whisper. Why couldn't I remember how he spoke? One exact phrase plucked from my memory would be enough to hear him, but the words remained unspoken. Couldn't even remember how he sounded when he said "I love you." A familiar pain begins to claw at my chest, one I'd buried under a mountain of pills early this morning. That don't sound good. No, not now. I inhale a ragged breath and shove the shadows away. It's something I've practiced for a while now. Keep talking. Distract yourself. You know, it's good that I visited before the snow. Winter is nearly here. You might not realize it, but today is your favorite holiday. It's also the day you died. 4 years ago. Or, shall I say, what's French for 4? Un, deux, trois, quatre. 4 years ago. Maybe you knew that part though. He suffered long enough to know he was going to die, I think. That was the detail that made me vomit when they told me about his accident. He was awake when the ambulance arrived. Why wasn't it faster? In my constant reimaginings, he'd always be unconscious. I couldn't bring myself to picture any details. I didn't want to remember how he suffered, but it was a part of his story. It was part of his life. His suffering and vices had even drifted into my dreams lately. The anniversary always amplified them. I tried smoking and drinking just to see what you thought was so great about it. I must have got the genes from you because they're my favourite crutch now. I don't know why you tortured yourself with them. At least I have my reasons. But I did know. My mum stopped hiding their broken marriage once his casket was closed. I knew things were rough, but I didn't realise how destructive they were. Lately I've started to question if my mother was the true monster in his life. It's funny, I spend so much time asking myself why you tortured yourself with shitty choices when I mirror them daily. That's why I'm here too. Because I'm your daughter. I came here to suffer, not to heal. This pain doesn't mend like a paper cut, papa. It festers like a gunshot. I'm so frustrated because now I know who ma mère is. She's shown the world her true colours. You deserved better. Why can I picture her so perfectly? It's not fair. I bite my lip and push my mother's face from my memory. This isn't about her. Don't let her steal this moment. Anyway, I've been writing. Quite a lot actually, almost daily. It's therapeutic, I think. Getting my feelings on paper helps me feel detached from them. They're a little less heavier when I read them aloud. When I write, I can push the darkest thoughts I'm having away, even momentarily. The best part is, I'm not afraid that someone's listening or analysing. It feels safer than the grief counselling I attended. I don't think the professionals were judging me, but when they listened, I felt them processing my words, a misunderstanding. Just because I write dark things doesn't mean I'm a dark person. True. I'm reaching for brighter thoughts, feelings where I let those words go. You know what, I should stop saying A, it just sounds weird. My new therapist understands, she's different than the others. It finally feels important that I go to my appointments. I don't look forward to them because they're a lot. But when I leave, I feel lighter. Like I've lessened the load on my shoulders. I get scared sometimes because each day is a wild card. I hate feeling like everything is out of my control. I'm terrified that therapy can't save me. I don't want to bottle things up again. Holding that shit in was the worst idea I've ever had. Fuck it. Papa, I'm done pretending. I drink. I smoke. I popped some pills before I left the house. I'll do anything to be numb. And I'm afraid that scribbling my feelings isn't enough. I thought the pain was dulling, but it's worse than the day you died. I know you're not here today, but I keep picturing you in every tomorrow. And each day that image grows a little dimmer. Between losing you and Mum taking off, I've been trying so hard to feel empty. Being happy felt out of reach, so feeling less became the best option. Alright, well, you're going to encounter someone, aren't you? Maybe a friend, or even more, who knows, who's going to help you fill that void. Turns out being destructive couldn't save me. You can't hear drowning girls cry. Drinking more of my tea. I wipe away the overflowing stream of tears with my sleeve and shut my eyes. Practice those deep breaths. It's okay to be upset. I inhale and exhale, but the breaths are intruded on. The earth sways below as a sensation of floating overcomes me, almost like sitting on a boat. Uh-oh. Does it feel like the world's drifting? Vertigo? What's going on? Yep, it's probably those stupid allergy pills. A twinge of concern washes over me as I try to imagine the state of my liver, but I excuse the thoughts quickly. It's not like I eat vegetables or drink enough water anyway. Coffee, bread and cheese are my food groups. It was dumb to take more pills before leaving. I know it's a bad day when they can't keep me from crying. I tried to focus on the positives. At least I was doing better. Taking them as prescribed was a challenge, but I'd managed to for quite a while. Today was a hiccup. They're usually a subtle but helpful bandage. I'm an idiot for thinking they'd handle this visit. Subtle can't cover this. How could I ever expect this visit to be easy? It was naive of me. Today is always going to fucking sting. The words I've whispered under my breath 1,000 times echo out once again. You're never going to be okay. You're never going to be okay. Never, ever, again. I tell myself that I needed to get those words out of my system, but I know that they're bound to sit on the tip of my tongue again, waiting to escape. With my eyes still shut, I sigh and let my thoughts drift with the vertigo. Maybe those pills weren't so useless. A chilly gust lifts fluttering leaves away from the earth, and I can hear them dancing through the air. I begin to imagine that I'm flying with them, twirling away from this place, away from my body. Okay, so quite a heavy open. Alright, who have we got here? The person who's going to come in and save our character. We'll see who it is first, and then I'll give them a voice. Hello? A voice? Must have imagined it. No, you haven't. There is someone there. Are you okay? Oh god, is it Nagito Komeda? Is this like the opening of Danganronpa 2? What's going on? Are you okay? You seem pretty out of it. What the? I open my eyes and stumble upward in a daze. I hurriedly dust off my clothes before looking toward the stranger behind the question. Hello, hello? Who we got here? Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. I'm taken aback by her presence. Didn't expect to see anyone here. No, it's fine. You didn't scare me. My throbbing heart tells a different story. I suddenly feel thankful that I'm not the blushing type. I'm just looking at this new character. What should we go with? Irish? I always like doing my Irish accent. Are you alright? I'm fine. Why? She gestures towards my dad's headstone and subtly raises her eyebrows. I think you were sleeping on someone's grave. Did you know them? I laugh half-heartedly. It's my papa. He wouldn't mind. Oh. The girl's posture stiffens noticeably, and I remind myself to tone back the abruptness. You're not talking to a ghost anymore. Act normal. Ask her name. Ask why she's here. Okay. You know what? Let's go straight in there. Ask her name. Oh, what's your name? I'm Lucia. Oh, Lucia. That's an Italian. Maybe I should actually go for the Italiano. I'm a Lucia. And you are? I quickly realised that I should have introduced myself first. Would have been the polite thing to do. I always feel so disjointed when I meet new people. It's embarrassing. Well, don't you worry. There's lots of people out there who feel that way. Who have that kind of struggle. Perfectly normal. And my name is Era. It's nice to meet you. That sounded more robotic than genuine, but at least I'm trying. Actually, let's scribble out the word robotic and say that sounded more French than genuine. Hey, so Ella, do you mind if I ask why you're napping in a cemetery? Well, it wasn't on the agenda. I took allergy medication and it hit a little harder than I anticipated. Oh, have I been there? Oh, what are you allergic to? I scrambled to come up with a good excuse. Not too sure. Had some hives and figured it was best to take a pill. Or 4. I get it. Sometimes the cats make my eyes itchy. I pet them anyway. They're worth it. Ha ha! Gotta get that Mario laugh. Hold on, let me sip some tea. There we go. Oh, jeez. I can't help but smile back at Lucia. She seems sweet. So, you are visiting someone too? Lucia's smile falters. Nice job. You're always good at brightening the room. Yes, and my sister passed away. Her name was Kate. She died last week. Can't help but regurgitate the sentence that everyone had spoken to me in the past. I'm sorry. Lucia shifts her feet uncomfortably and stares at the ground. I remember standing like that too, unsure of how to respond. Sorry, that wasn't the right thing to say. I don't mind it, what everyone says. I know, I've been there. My dad died 4 years ago, so the memories are still pretty fresh. Lucia's eyes widen fearfully. They are. I struggle to backtrack, jumping to console her as best as I can. Not in the same ways that you're feeling. I mean that it's its anniversary today, so it feels closer than usual. Lucia's shoulders drop slightly as her gaze softens. That's understandable, I get it now. I'll be visiting on Kate's day too. Does the visiting get easier? A Molotov mixture of disgust and embarrassment builds in my chest. What am I supposed to say? Lie for comfort, tell her the truth. Ooh. Oh, you're really putting it on me now, aren't you? Do we want to lie? Or do you just want to be honest? I feel like this character is showing some self-destructive behaviour and could do maybe with help, but fuck it, let's be truthful. I decide the truth is my best option. I don't know. Her eyebrows furrow slightly, a hint of confusion glimmers in her gaze. What do you... That means I haven't been here since he was... I trail off, the words too heavy to speak. I haven't talked about his burial before. The smooth and polished shine of his cherry wood casket revisits me. No, don't cry in front of her. Don't scare her. I shake my head and try to find my way back to the present. Sorry. Lucia nods in silent understanding. We pause for a moment, both not quite sure how to continue. Lucia takes a step closer, trying her best to mend the gap between us. You don't have to explain. I'm sorry that I prodded. I expect the knots in my stomach to twist and tighten, but they nearly surrender, as Lucia looks at me apologetically. Instead of burying the words and leaving them to wait for my notebook, I speak up. I want to explain. Lucia smiles softly with a hint of encouragement. When it came to visiting, I couldn't do it. It never felt right. My memories of him aren't in this spot there everywhere but here. I tried once, but it wasn't long after he'd passed. He was full of life, so his graveside, it wasn't a place I could reflect on him. Until today... until today I wanted to try again. I'm not exactly sure why. I guess I hoped it would help with closure. Lucia looks towards my father's headstone. Oh, those are beautiful flowers. I like the arrangement you chose. I bite at my lip unconsciously. Thanks, but I didn't leave those. I think his sister was here earlier. Cora is big on flowers. Oh well, she has a good taste. Sorry to focus on the flowers, I can't help myself. I'm a florist. I had a feeling, as soon as you said you were concentrating on flowers, there was a part of my mind that thought, you something to do with them? Is your job concerned with flowers? Oh. I need to drink up my tea, it's getting a bit lukewarm. There we go, that's better. Sorry if you're hearing swallowing noises in the background there. I'm gulping it down. I'm a florist. That's interesting. The anxious realisation that I never thought to bring my dad flowers hits me. Never even crossed my mind. Does Lucia think that it's rude that I didn't? Maybe you could suggest a bouquet for my dad. I should have brought one. Hey, if it's not your thing, don't feel like you have to buy them. Lucia smiles carefully as she reads me like an open book. I do have an... Oh, wrong. I nearly blended the two accents together. I do have an idea, though, if you want to leave him as something meaningful. Please, I'd love to. I expected not to mean that, but for some reason, I want to. Wait here, please. I nod as Lucia walks past me. I flick through my notes instead of staring after her, doing my best not to act entranced. Where did this girl come from? She's so sweet. The crunch of fallen leaves on the footsteps carries from the distance. Oh, you're much closer. Yes, Lucia stands closer than before. I brought you this. Oh, it's repeated then. That was a bit strange. She reaches into her bag and extends her hand. Oh! Yes, you are the romantic interest, aren't you? A single icy blue rose sits between her thumb and forefinger. I reach forward but stop in hesitation. Where did you get it? It was left at Kate's grave. A gasp escapes my lips and I shake my head. I can't take that. No, don't worry. Kate would want your father to have a flower. She doesn't like roses anyway. Lucia trails off, realising what she said. I mean, I didn't. Kate didn't like roses. I try my best to reassure her with my gaze as I accept the rose. Oh, thank you. That present tense thing, it goes away. Don't feel like you need to jump to correct yourself. Time will take care of it. Lucia nods silently in response. As I kneel against the cold earth to place the blue rose on my dad's grave, I realise how fresh the flower is. The edges of the petals have barely begun to wilt. I feel Lucia's eyes on my back. Before turning toward her, I ask the question on my mind. Hey, Lucia. When was Kate's funeral? Yesterday. As I face Lucia, I want to ask her why she's here today. I want to know how she's doing. I want to hug her. I want to make her feel less alone, even if for a fraction of a second. I want to give her what I never had. A moment of silence passes us by, but before I can ask Lucia to let me in, she breaks the silence herself. Hey, you're still tired? I massage the back of my neck absent-mindedly and laugh a little. Oui, did these dark circles give me away? Lucia giggles softly. No, your eyes are fine, hee hee. That was kind of her to lie about. I've looked in the mirror before. I can't believe I fell asleep, it's a little embarrassing. Don't worry about it. Do you drink a coffee? Oui. Let me buy you one. You don't want to sleep through Halloween. There's a great coffee shop in the Old Town district. You know, I probably should have played this actually on Halloween then, since they mentioned it. Old Town, isn't that a little far? Did you drive here? No, I walked. Well, I don't mind giving you a ride. Let me take you, it's my treat. Unless you have other plans. Do it. Elle, do it. I don't, but... A part of me remains hesitant. Getting into cars with strangers isn't something my parents encouraged, that's for sure. Look, Elle, it's fine. You're a character in a visual novel. There's only one way it can turn out, and that is good. She seems harmless enough, but I don't actually know her. Plus, today is not exactly an easy day for me. Lucia quietly reads over my rigid stance. Without explanation, she grins and starts to giggle at me. Did you want to take a selfie together? A what? You're going to send it to a friend. That way, if you go missing, they know exactly who to look for. I smile back at her and subtly shake my head. No, it's fine. Sticking my thumb in a hitchhiking fashion. I love the thrill of getting in a stranger's car. Lucia playfully rolls her eyes before winking at me. Buckle up, then we're going for a ride on the Mario Kart. Alright, let's go. We headed towards the road, walking past rows of headstones side by side. I didn't imagine I'd be leaving here with someone. The feeling of walking close to her is strangely comforting. Guess I always expected to be here alone. Even if I had a special person in my life, I wouldn't ask them to come here. It's hard to understand what it's like to visit this place, unless you're missing someone. Okay, is it date time? Okay, we gotta romance this girl. Because, you know, it's a visual novel, so it said romance in one of the tags, so we gotta make the right choices. The drive to the coffee shop is uneventful. Lucia's car has heated seats, so I try my best to subtly warm my hands under my legs. She doesn't seem to notice and stays focused on driving. We can chat about the weather, mostly, or we chat about the weather even. Once we reach the Old Town District, Lucia carefully navigates toward the last parking spot on the street. Oh, you got the Halloween decorations out. This is the place. I haven't been here in forever. After stepping out of the car, Lucia tugs gently on my sweater and guides me to the crosswalk. She's practically bouncing toward the cafe. Once we cross, we find ourselves at the front doors. Despite the chilly weather, they still offer outdoor seating. A waitress steps outside to greet us with a smile on her face. Oh, oh wow, she's like a Ruby character from Season 1. Welcome, if you'd like to take a seat, I'll be right with you. She's probably just a one-off character, so we probably won't give her a voice. As the waitress steps inside, I move to follow her. Lucia pulls at my sleeve again with an expectant grin. Hey, let's get out of here, it's more private. As we take our seats outside the cafe, I can feel the energy of the cemetery fall away. Our table is vibrantly decorated with Halloween-themed trinkets and candles. This is so cute. Can't argue with that, she definitely chose a festive spot. The street is bustling with ghouls and witches, even our waitress is dressed up. I mean, not that we can see that, but happy Halloween. Can I interest you in one of our spooky specials? Okay, you know what? If she has more than one line, we might as well give her a voice then. Lucia's eyes light up immediately. Oh, what are they? The waitress grins, realising she's hooked Lucia in. Today we have our pumpkin cheesecake paired with any of our 4 specialty drinks for $8.99. If you're craving something warm and hearty, we also have butternut squash soup with one of our fresh baked biscuits. Butternut squash soup is delicious. I'll take 10 of them. Lucia squeals with delight. I love a cheesecake. Well, good for you, girl. I like you. Could I get the pumpkin cheesecake with a pumpkin spice latte, please? Wow, you went full white girl just there. I guess she likes pumpkins. After jotting down Lucia's order, the waitress's gaze darts towards me. Yeah, what would you like? As that pumpkin cheesecake sounds fine. And to drink? Those always blending the voices. I rack my brain for anything other than the pumpkin spice latte. Sorry, what are your other full drinks? Maple pecan and chai lattes. Lucia raises her eyebrows and whispers exaggeratedly across the table. But the maple pecan sounds super yummy. I can't help but chuckle. Okay, I'll get the maple pecan latte. The waitress nods and leaves with a smile. You know what is nice? A latte with a shot of vanilla in it. Oh, well, aren't you adorable just there? Barely a minute passes before our waitress rushes back to the table. Here are your lattes. Thanks so much. Oh wait, that's the wrong voice. That was her speaking, not Elle. I'll bring a cheesecake over as soon as it's ready. Lucia peers over at me with a curious glimmer in her eyes. Do you think it's too hot to sip? I'm sure it's fine. I lift the cup to my lips and decide to take a swig. Wow, you're going full on there. Yikes, yes, of course that stuff's going to be hot. My throat burns as I try desperately to clear it inconspicuously. I do my best not to sputter on Lucia as I reply. It's, quite warm still. She giggles softly. You didn't need to be my lab rat. Just trying to be helpful. Lucia raises her cup and takes a careful sip. It's not that hot. Were you trying to scare me? Well, it is Halloween. How did she not scold herself? Does she have no sense of temperature? She's a ghost. She's not real. Huh? We're dating a ghost. No, I don't know. That's why she chose outdoor seating on this chilly day. Because she's a ghost. She can't feel the temperature. Do you like celebrating Halloween? Or maybe she's a vampire. Who knows? I don't know. No, I don't think this game has those kind of twists in it. I don't know if it's that kind of game. I felt unsure of how to explain myself. I used to. Lucia realises what she's asked. Sorry, I can't believe I forgot that today is... No apology necessary. I try my best to steer the conversation with a lighter tone in my voice. I do like Halloween, by the way. I just haven't done much other than hand out candy for a few years. The kids in my neighbourhood love my place. They know I always have tons of treats. You're... I think went Irish again then. You only hand out a candy. You haven't dressed up. No, but I did like that part when I was in high school. Those tiny little animations of the eyes. Great. Well, it's not really animation, it's just two CGs, one that has slightly different difference in the eyes. It just fades to the other one. Great. I'm going to a costume party tonight. What do you think? Spooky or sexy? Huh? What kind of costume should I go with? I have a closet full of options. There. Gas. From me tea. Coming up my throat. Good lord. Okay, spooky or sexy? do we just go full on? Do we just go, full on, strong, going in there hard, and just go, girl, sexy, fuck it, boom. Sexy costumes are fun. She winks at me playfully. How did you know? How did I know you to suggest that? Fighting back a goofy grin, I bite my cheek hard. A flash of pain dances across my face. Ellie, you okay? I'm fine. I was thinking about what costumes you might have. Why would you say that? Well, maybe she's about to invite you back to her place. And there, it's going to be good. I somehow managed to embarrass myself more than I feared. Lucia politely ignores the comment instead of teasing me. I hope I didn't balls that up. So, did you want to come to the party with me? I was going to go alone, but it would be great to bring a... Oh, Lucia's words drift away from me. That auto-advanced. My limbs stiffened as if I'd suddenly been plunged into icy water. A party on Halloween. That night. He went out that night. I was the one that called him. I bite my cheek, desperate to escape the coursing river of guilt. No. Look, Elle, it's been 4 years, right? Your life's got to move on. And sometimes, who knows? Maybe this will be the thing that helps you. No freaking out. Not now. I dig my nails into my palm, trying to snap myself away from the echo of that Halloween party. Okay, focus and breathe. The idea of rejecting Lucia hurts, but I can't go with her. Oh, so I'm not going to get a choice? The voice of my therapist saying trauma trigger rings in my ear. I promised that I'd stop being self-destructive, and I can't risk Lucia seeing me like that. I can't, not tonight at least. The ghost of that distant night disappears as quickly as it arrived. I'm at the cafe with Lucia. I'm okay. Lucia grips the handle of her mug and spins it absent-mindedly. I thought you didn't have plans. I have a date later, sorry that I didn't mention it. A frown escapes Lucia. A date? I nod. Yup, with a bowl of leftover candy. The leftover... Oh. Relief washes over her. If it isn't obvious already, I'm painfully single. It's not... I nearly went Irish again. It's not obvious. Really? Of course it isn't. You're so pretty. For a second, my heart skips a beat. Wow. I realise how rude I might be coming off. I mean, thanks. We break eye contact and struggle to continue. That's one way to snap back into reality. Come on, keep it up. So, what's it like being a florist? My ploy to redirect the conversation is painfully evident. Gia doesn't brush me off, luckily. My family has owned a flower shop for 3 generations, so it's pretty natural for me. We have a piranha plants in the basement. What about you? Are you a student? No, I graduated from a tourism and hospitality program. I work at the Spring Dream Suites. That sounds interesting. It's clearly not. My job is to fend off bad reviews, basically. Gia laughs, but I'm afraid it's forced. Do you like... God, I keep going Irish. Do you like to travel? I haven't really travelled since I was a kid, but if I ever had the chance, I'd love to work at a resort, just to see what it's like to live in a warm climate. count me in. I'm always down to book a room at an Islander resort. I promise I'll leave a good review too, if you get me a discount. I can't help but giggle. I'll do my best. I'm curious about your job. When did you join your family's business? They started training me when I was young. I spent plenty of summers playing in my grandmother's garden. She started the business with my grandfather when she grew the piranha plant for the first time, and it was spitting fireballs at all the neighbours. It's beautiful. They have a huge property out in the countryside. I loved putting together bouquets for my mom when I was little. Fortunately, she didn't like them that much because they were all piranha plants. My grandma would help me pick them, so they always turned out perfectly. Grandmama knew how to pick the piranha plant. So, I'm really rolling with this bloody Mario joke. She called it my training. I had to learn how to hop on the Goomba heads. A plan worked, though. I'm running the business with my parents now. My grandparents are retired, but they still help out when we're short-handed and when we need someone to pick the piranha plants and no one else can do it. Lucia's gaze seems to intensify. Feels like she's looking right through me. Is she alright? She notices my concern and smiles reassuringly. Sorry, I was thinking about those summers as a kid. I can still picture the day that my sister made a flower crown out of daisies. She put it on my head and called me a princess. She called me a Princess Peach. It was just a game to Kate, but... She clears her throat. I thought it was the day I fell in love with flowers. I'll never forget it. Lucia, that was a vulnerable moment. Her hands tremble ever so slightly. She must have been nervous to share that memory with me. Is that so special? Hello ladies, here's your pumpkin cheesecake. Before I can finish, our waitress interrupts. We wait for her to set down our plates and cutlery. Can I get you anything else? I think we're good, thanks. The waitress steps away and heads inside. I fiddle with my notebook and flip through the pages while Lucia sips her drink. Ella, can I ask you a question? I smile, eager to start chatting again. Go ahead. Lucia motions toward the table. Oh, what's that? Oh, it's my notebook. Like a diary. Sort of. It has a bit of everything. Unfinished thoughts, sketches, and some journaling. I don't usually carry it around. You wrote it for your dad. Maybe it was obvious, or maybe she understands me. Oh yeah, I did. I thought about reading to him, but I felt weird once I got there. I talked to him instead, which wasn't much easier. I think I know how you feel. I tried to talking to Kate today, but I couldn't. I left her voicemails instead. It felt closer to how things were. Almost normal. It's subtle, but Lucia's voice breaks as she trails off. Instinctively, I reach across the table. For a fraction of a second, my hand rests atop her own. I pull away swiftly, fearing that I've invaded her space. Sorry. She stares at her lap, unmoving. Thank you, that was nice. For a moment I envision the horrible precipice Lucia is hovering on the edge of. I couldn't say that for a moment. Unfiltered, unprocessed, raw grief. One day she's going to realise that in the infinite possibilities of this universe, she will never see her sister again. The realisation that there will never be another moment shared with Kate. The end of making memories and the beginning of their blurring. Seems clear, but it never is. Elle. Oui? Lucia bites her lip and stares into a cup. I have questions that I'm afraid to ask anyone else. I don't want to be weird or rude. But you seem to understand the loss better than anyone I've ever spoken to. I struggle to give her a good answer. What if I make her feel worse? I decide to warn her. Honestly, I'm not the best person to get grief counselling from. I need someone to be real with me. I'm tired of being brushed off. Suddenly the circle of chairs in the church basement revisits me. I felt brushed off too. It was so discouraging. Oh, right. What did people say to you? I heard that the stage is going to take years, but that the pain won't last forever. Is it true? The stages? Honestly, I forgot how much people like to focus on that idea. My grief wasn't in stages, at least not in the way I expected. She gives me a quizzical stare through glassy eyes. Emotions aren't dominoes, they don't fall in a logical pattern. My grief falls like sudden rain on a cloudless day. I can wake up in acceptance and go to bed angry or bargaining. Lucia's eyes brighten. That was poetic. I ignore her praise. Look, I know that your sister is always on your mind right now, but there's going to be days where you forget about Kate for longer than you ever thought possible. I forget about my dad all the time. Lucia seems startled by my admission. There are moments when his memory doesn't stir any pain or tears. Because of your healing? No. I feel ashamed or angry, even dull at times. It always feels wrong. You'll probably feel disgusted with yourself for pulling it together and burying how deeply you miss her. I felt punished for trying to function. Going to work, visiting friends, even getting dressed. Putting away the pain is harder than carrying it. I just want you to know that. There's no winning. There's no easy way to process this loss. She blinks carefully, intentionally, as if she's truly absorbing the information. You know, Lucia stops to clear her throat before continuing. I didn't plan to go back to Kate's grave today. You didn't? No. I was driving around mindlessly and it sort of dawned on me as that wandering in a daze was disrespectful to her memory. She would have done anything for a clear moment. I'm not sure that I follow. I don't want to demand answers, but I can't nod and pretend it makes sense like that grief group did. I'm not here to tell her that she's young, then it'll make it easier. That was wrong of them. Anecdotes and adages aren't solutions. I want to listen and do my best to understand her. But Lucia doesn't move to explain herself. If you're not ready to tell. No, it's fine. Sorry, I need a moment. I nod and wait for her to gather her thoughts. She takes a deep breath and begins. A kid suffered from chronic health problems and told me what a privilege a pain-free day is. She tried her best to live a normal life, but her health had a habit of stealing happy moments from her. One morning Kate didn't get up for breakfast. My mum went upstairs to check on her. They had plans to go shopping, so it was odd that she hadn't started getting ready. When my mum walked in, Kate wouldn't wake up. She was taking prescription drugs for her illness and she aspirated in her sleep. It was sudden. She died all alone. And now I'm here, 1 week later, enjoying a pumpkin spice latte when my sister starts to rot in the ground. My heart shudders as she speaks the word rot. So yeah, I get what you mean. There are no right choices. Every moment without her feels wrong. I feel like a stranger in my own life. I'd never say anything like that, especially to someone I've just met, but I spoke without hesitating. And now I'm regretting every word. I'm afraid that you think I'm a freak. No, it's horrible, but everything you said makes perfect sense. I don't want to tell her anything else. I don't want to know that my heart doesn't feel like it did before. Lucia gives me a look that cuts deep. This girl is staring into my eyes looking for hope. I reach out and ski. Oh, there we go. For a moment then, it sort of juddered on the text. It said I reach out and squeeze. Reach out and squeeze her hand, but the comfort is forced. I don't know how to tell her that I'm broken too. She doesn't deserve the whiplash of false hope. I don't want to see her bite that apple. I don't want to watch it turn to bitter ash on her tongue. I pull my hand away and break the silence. Can I put my number in your phone? Lucia strains her posture and reaches for her bag. I'm sure. She unlocks her phone and hands it over. Carefully type my information into the new contact menu, making sure I leave no mistakes. I know it's a cliché, but you can call me at any time. I don't care why, I do. It doesn't have to be an emergency. She nods as she stashes her cell phone back into her bag. Thank you. I still have questions if you're willing. I feel an acidic hesitation burning in my throat. I'm not sure if I'm the person you should be around right now. I think you're wrong. I don't think I am. I tried talking to other people dealing with loss and it didn't help. Sometimes I wonder if the opposite would have been better. Maybe you need to surround yourself with people who don't get it. How did that help? Maybe you'll convince yourself that you're just like them. Fake it till you make it, but the grief counselling version. Look, I get it if you don't want to talk about the grief, but I don't need kid gloves. She points to my lap. I want to hear the L that's in the notebook. I know you've already let me listen to her. When? The poetry, a grief that falls like a sudden rain on a cloudless day. I bet you $20 that's been written in there. As much as I wouldn't mind paying for the meal, I won't bet against her. I know she's right and she knows it too. I push aside my uncertainty. It's not like you have to see her again. If your answers freak her out, it was her choice to insist on them. But I find myself imagining her in my future. Where she fits in, I'm not sure. But I'm certain that I want to see her again. Okay, I'll bite. Finally. First you have to make me a promise. What kind of promise? When we go our separate ways, you have to text me after. Even if it's to say bye forever. Okay, I promise that I'll text you. I wink at Lucia playfully. Ask me anything, I'm an open book. She grins at the notebook pun. Okay, let's just start the weird. Was your dad's service and open a casket? Oui. Did he look himself? They never do. I hadn't seen a body before Kate's service. I don't know what I expected a dead person to look like, but it wasn't that. Looking at her made me feel sick. Or maybe I was afraid. I couldn't believe it was her. She looked like a doll. Like a weird imitation of Kate. Even when I wasn't staring at her, I knew exactly where she was. I couldn't tear my mind away from that image. She definitely didn't look like she was sleeping. She looked dead. I could barely focus on the service. She was all I saw. It's awful, but I can't really remember what anyone said to me that day. The eulogies are a blur. I pursed my lips. How did no one notice how she felt about seeing her dead sister? Why didn't anyone help her? I'm sorry nobody warned you before the funeral. I'm sorry that no one saw... My voice went a bit weird then. I'm sorry that no one saw what you were dealing with during it either. You needed support and you deserved it. Thanks. Having a viewing isn't right for everyone. Please don't worry, it's okay to be freaked out. You're not the first to feel that way, trust me. There's a term for it. Seriously? Yeah, it's called the uncanny valley. Someone's blending a bit into the Italian accent. When you look at someone you've seen animated with life and see that emptiness, that absolute absence of energy. It's different for everyone, but you're not going to like it. I'm sorry you saw kids that way. You deserve the option not to. Lucia frowned sharply. You're right. No one asked if I wanted an open casket. My parents did all the planning. I just showed up. My mum did the opposite. She dragged me to every moment of planning, choosing Dad's casket. It's burned into my memory. There's no winning when you don't get a choice. We both deserve to make our own decisions. Lucia nods as her expression softens. Hell, please don't feel pressure. I get it if you can't share any more. I know that I'm not entitled to your pain or experiences, but I'd be lying if I said that I didn't want to hear them. Can I ask another question? Sure. Go for it. Lucia's lips quiver as her amber eyes betray a sliver of anxiety. Are you sure? Please, I want to help. She swallows audibly. Do you feel like he's watching you? An old weight descends and perches on my shoulders, the hovering of familiar eyes, a spectre I thought I'd left in the past. I shrug it away with a practised breath. In the first few weeks after he died, quite often. That goes away fast, I think. You don't remember? Can't tell her how I yelled at nothingness in the days before Dad's funeral, how I ordered him away from my own comfort. I didn't want him to visit, ever. I needed to live without his ghostly gaze. That stays between us. Simplicity is best. It goes away, or you just decide that you don't care what they see. Hint of blush touches her cheek. It'd better go away. I felt a weird showering today. I couldn't stop picturing her standing on the other side of the curtain, waiting. It's eerie. I feel like I'm going crazy. I promise you're not crazy, I've been there. How did you do it? What? Cope. How did I cope? That's an impossible question. Keep going. Take a break. That's a tricky one. Because kind of our character got very self-destructive. Oh god. I'm just going to take a save there. Keep going. Keep going? Honestly, that's an answer I'm still searching for. You must have tried something. Oh, Lucia, I tried plenty. Decided to turn the question back toward her. What have you tried in the first week? My hair, I guess. It wasn't this colour last week. I had the appointment before Kate died. She booked it for me. I couldn't bring myself to cancel it, so I went to her funeral like this. There's a hint of regret in her voice. There's nothing wrong with fashion colours. Maybe from your perspective. I thought it would make me happy, but it didn't work. I remember when I felt that way too. When I thought that a haircut or a tattoo could spill some colour into the grey haze. I regret not rescheduling, at least. My cousin implied that I was actually trying to steal a kid's spotlight. Wow. Dick. Jeez. Some of Kate's friends did too. Spotlight? What a poor choice of words. That wasn't fair of them to say. But it was. I did that when she was alive. Kate was my best friend and worst enemy. I got so jealous of her constantly. The worst part was, Kate knew it, and she always did her best to reassure me that I was pretty or popular too. It didn't matter what was bothering me, she would zero in on it and try to fix things. Kate could be too kind. It was disarming and infuriating, and as much as she booked me, I would do anything to get that back. I wanted to make it better. I need to know what to do with all of this. I'm overflowing with the feelings towards her, and there's no resolution. I can't work it out with her. Every chance slipped away in an instant. There's no outlet for this ocean of pain, and it hurts. I wanted to stop just for a second. I want a break. I can't give you a break, and no one can. I know. I raised my hand to stop her. Wait, I wasn't done. I can't give you a break, but when things get too stormy, I can be your anchor. I wait, half expecting her to burst into laughter over the lame sentiment. Or maybe she'll pity me and say thanks as quickly as possible. Her eyes grow wide in disbelief. Oh, why? You don't even know me. I think I know you better than you want me to. I know the questions in your head, I've lived them. Lucia freezes. Maybe that scares you? I feel like you know me too, and it's uncomfortable. It fills me with insecurities I didn't even know I had. But I still want to see you again. I want to meet the other pieces of you. I mean, I don't know your favourite colour or hobbies, but I want to. She doesn't respond. That's the long-winded version of why I'll be there if you call. If you want to see me again. Lucia finally emerges from her silence. I do, but if you're going to know my story, I need to hear more of yours. I can tell you're censoring it. I'm not blind either. When I asked you about that Halloween party you froze up, I saw it. Something has stole you from our conversation for just a second. You don't need to hide that from me. If I'm going to be vulnerable, can't you be too? I promise I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going anywhere. Will you tell me what happened to you? Yes, do it. Do it. Maybe she can help you. Oui. But if you have questions, wait until I'm finished. Lucia nods in agreement. Okay, I can do that. Fair warning, it's a long and messy story. If it's too much to hear right now, please stop me. I will if I need to. Alright. I swallow, but the lump in my throat remains. It's an uncomfortable ache. Until today, I hadn't felt that for months, maybe even years. It's better than feeling nothing, right? I turn my attention back to Lucia. I'm going to think aloud here. If I come off erratic, that's why. Honestly, I'm ashamed of myself, and that's not typical. I've hated myself. I felt angry, lonely, and stupid, but never ashamed. There was no one around that I cared enough about to feel shame. When you started asking questions, you made me reflect for the first time in a while. Despite my declaration of honesty, I can't help but hold back. Vulnerability is not my thing. It's exactly why therapy has always been a struggle. I decided to borrow the attitude I'd fought so hard to leave behind. Fuck it. Here goes nothing. 4 years ago, I went to a Halloween party. Lucia's eyebrows raised quickly as expected. I was home from college that weekend, and I was excited to get together with my old friends. We'd all gone to different schools, so it was something we'd been planning for a while. We all dressed up together before the crowd arrived. It started out pretty innocently, but a ton of people showed up and that party got kinda crazy. My friend was hosting and she didn't mind, luckily. Originally I planned to stay the night, but I ended up drinking way too much, and I needed to go home early. My boyfriend stayed on campus that weekend, so he couldn't give me a ride. I called my dad after midnight and he agreed to come pick me up. He wasn't mad or anything, he was glad that I called when I needed him. I was just having fun and overindulged. He understood. My dad was driving to my friend's place when a teenager in a truck blew through a stop sign and T-boned him. I had a feeling that was where it was going. When the emergency services arrived, my dad was still awake. He didn't make it to the hospital. I wait, trying to gauge Lucia's response. She seems okay. I'll keep going. The kids that caused the accident walked away with superficial scratches. He was lucky in that regard, but mentally he was traumatized. I don't have any ill will towards him anymore. He did his best to make amends with my family. Honestly, I hope he can live a normal life. One mistake shouldn't haunt him forever. After my dad died, things with my mom went downhill pretty quickly. I left school to stay home with her. It didn't feel right to leave her all alone. Things fizzled out with my boyfriend because of the distance, so I was dealing with my stuff too. I tried to be there for my mom, but nothing worked. When I spoke with her, she made me feel like I didn't exist. And when I tried to tell her about my feelings, she shut me down. She treated suffering like a competition. She'd say that he was just my dad. She'd rant on about how we're meant to lose our parents, that he was her husband, and that her pain would never end. Oh God, throat's going a bit with this voice. I barely recognised her. There was even a time when I thought she might kill herself. I didn't know what to do. I was practically still a teenager. It was... I catch myself holding back, but push through. It was fucking scary. Lucia purses her lips and nods solemnly. Her eyes speak as sincere as I'm so sorry as she possibly can. Okay, I probably misread that then, but she stays true to her word and doesn't interrupt, sensing that my story isn't complete. Without much of an explanation, she suddenly went on a vacation and never really came back. She moved to the West Coast and got a fresh start. I grit my teeth, forcing myself to say what I'd only ever felt before. My mum says that I was always welcome to join her, but I know she only offered because she knew I'd refused to move. She knew that I wouldn't follow her. Eventually she ended up hating my dad. I think it was her way of coping. Their marriage wasn't perfect, but she clung to everything that was wrong. He was a shift worker, always rotating from days to nights. It meant that he didn't get to spend as much time with us as he would have liked, but it paid for my mom's lifestyle. She always had new clothes, a nice car, whatever she asked him for. I knew he loved her. He used gifts to try to make up for his schedule. My mom doesn't seem to remember that side of him. I guess it's easier to hate someone rather than mourn them. She never fails to shit-talk him when we're on the phone. In her eyes, her new boyfriend is perfect, and my dad was human garbage. Wow. Damn. I can't stand to listen to her for too long, so I keep our calls short and spaced out. My therapist calls it creating boundaries. It feels like giving up, though. Because in the end, my mum got what she wanted. My mum's goal was to get rid of me, and she won. Call it a mental breakdown, a midlife crisis, or whatever you want. There's something I've never been able to shake off even years later. As I fight to utter them, the words try to escape me. They're unspeakable thoughts. Lucia looks at me questioning, and I nod. Elle, you're safe with me. Please, you can say it. I exhale. Every day I wake up and think I want to go home. But I can't. That part of my life is that door is locked. I shake my head, disagreeing with my statement. No, that's not it. I want to go home, but my mom burned the whole house down. When I think of that part of my life, it's like sifting through a pile of ashes. There's nothing left. I did stupid things trying to numb the pain. I partied, slept around, I couldn't go a day without smoking. I was always reaching for painkillers too. I think I convinced myself they quieted the throbbing in my head. House parties were too close to losing him, so I went to nightclubs instead. I remember dancing in the middle of a neon crowd, feeling more alone than I'd ever thought possible. I was surrounded by people smiling and partying, but there was no happiness. I realised no one was looking for me. I was screaming for help and no one could hear me. My dad was dead. I think maybe I should just speak normally instead of this voice. Partly because it is also doing my throat in a bit. My mum had a new life. I was completely alone. Those choices were my own, but they were choices my parents would have protected me from. I got lucky in the end. My doctor probably saved my life. His office called for an annual checkup, and instead of cancelling, I felt compelled to go. I didn't tell him much, but he saw the signs and pushed me into treatment. Lucia, I'm not the kind of person you should be around. I'm not good. My mum, Warm tears spill down my frigid cheeks like spring rain on forgotten snow. My throat constricts, threatening to choke my words into silence. I don't know what I did. I don't know why she left. I don't know why she stopped loving me. Lucia reaches across the table and squeezes my hand. As her fingertips brush across my skin, my shoulders drop. How does she do that? She has such a subtle presence. The smallest gesture feels like she's wrapped me in a fuzzy blanket. Why? Why do I feel safe telling you this? Lucia's expression softens as she pulls her hand away. Mario voice. And maybe this wasn't an accidental connection. I hastily wipe away the tears with my sleeve, doing my best to compose myself. What do you mean? I never planned to visit the cemetery. My sister wasn't the reason I pulled over. It was because of you. The universe had put you there and pulled me in, like a magnet. I was sent to find you. I think we were meant to meet. Fate? Ooh. No, don't fucking give the fucking fedora tipping bloody response here. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. When I visited his grave, I nearly left as soon as I got there. I felt stupid for thinking that a visit could help me find closure. I was going to leave, but I felt a pull, so I sat down and stayed. A magnetism. That could have been the allergy meds, though. They're prescribed by my doctor for anxiety. I took more than I'm supposed to. Lucia stiffens. I know, it's wrong. I'm not perfect. I'm an idiot, honestly. I promise I won't do it again. But if I hadn't, we probably wouldn't have met. She nods sympathetically. And that's something to talk to your doctor about, Elle, or a mental health professional. Please be careful. Kate took her meds properly and it still had unexpected consequences. Make an appointment when you go home. I nod in agreement. I will. Good, I'll hold you to it. She sticks out her tongue playfully. A book of that in our next cheesecake date is on me. Another date? Maybe she is my type. It's a deal. Oh, I nearly blended the voices again. Great. Also, I want to make a point. I don't think anxiety meds are why we met. I have to argue a fate's case. I think there was a sign that we were meant to find each other. I just couldn't see it until now. What sign? The bouquet of blue roses for Kate. They weren't there during her burial. Someone had dropped them off afterward. I don't follow. Well, the thing about a blue roses is, they're not a typical flower to leave at a grave all on their own. Usually you have an arrangement with all kinds of accents. Roses weren't something Kate liked either. But there's a local tradition behind the blue roses. No one really remembers this kind of stuff anymore except for florists in the region. It's a lost tradition. What's the tradition? In folklore, children would leave a single blue flower at the grave of their father. Blue roses became particularly popular because they weren't naturally occurring. The gesture symbolises peace or serenity, depending on who you ask. My grandfather always told me that leaving a blue rose would help a father's spirit to move on, otherwise they'd cling to this world to watch over their children. It grants the deceased an acceptance of their passing and allows their children to grieve. I'm certain that I was meant to find her that rose. Your dad was meant to have it. Lucia's words at his graveside echo through my mind. I do have an idea if you want to leave him something meaningful, so that's what she meant. Seems like more of a coincidence than anything. Still, I'm left with questions. I don't get your meaning. Why do you think the rose was fateful? Seems like someone dropped them off after Kate's service, that's all. I think you're wrong. Fate put those roses there for a reason, regardless of who brought them. You were meant to take part in that tradition for him. I feel frustration ebb into my voice. Yeah, but why? Why? It was the question that always haunted me. Why did my dad have to die? Why did Mom leave? Why was everything familiar gone in an instant? Lucia smiles with patience beyond her years, as if she's waiting for my realisation. Oh, why? Because your dad doesn't need to worry about you being alone anymore. I'm here now. I fumble, racing to organise my thoughts. Do you really mean that? Yeah, that rose was waiting for us. He deserves to be at peace. You're not alone anymore. I'm not going anywhere if you want me around. My tears threaten to overflow, but I crane my neck backward to stop them. Deep breath in, deep breath out. When I look back to her, I can only bear to whisper my answer. I want you to stay. Hey, there we go. Oh, getting nice and emotional here. I will. For the first time since my dad died, I feel a bond. A new connection. I don't want to lose her. You'll keep your promise, right? Oh, what did I promise? I grin at her. To text me once you drop me off. Lucia reaches for her phone and begins to tap away at the screen. Is she texting me right now? She gasps suddenly. Oh, shoot. We need to go soon. It's getting pretty late. To the Halloween party? If we stay much longer, you're going to miss your trick-or-treaters. You've got that date with your leftover candy, too. Much as I don't want to leave quite yet, I don't want to keep Lucia too late. We better go. I don't need kids egging my place. Plus, I don't want you missing that party. I think I'll skip out. It's been an interesting day. Well, I hope you find the energy to go out. Halloween is my favourite holiday. A manna too. And don't worry, I'm going to send you pictures of my costume. I'm sure you'll love them. I can't help but bite at my lip. Looking forward to it. Lucia waves toward the waitress. Can we get the bill, please? I'll get that right away. The waitress glances towards our untouched plates. I'm sorry, was there something wrong with your cheesecake? No, we're in a bit of a rush, that's all. Could we get takeout boxes, please? Of course. Thanks for coming, happy Halloween. With the bill paid, we cross the street and head to Lucia's car. I focus on giving Lucia directions to my neighbourhood. I can't help but feel eager to get a box of Halloween decorations dusted off and onto my doorstep. I'm at number 235. Right here. Yeah, that's my place. Lucia pulls over and parks the car. As the engine switches off, I can't help but wonder what she's up to. I thought she just dropped me off. Let me walk you to your door. You don't have to do that. She giggles softly. Of course I do. This place is crawling with the monsters. Like a giant spider. There we are. 235, there it is. Little superheroes, princesses and ghouls begin to trickle out into the streets, passing by houses without porch lights. I hurry up the steps and unlock my door. As I turn the key, I feel Lucia's eyes on my back. Oh, I don't know, goodbye. I stick out my tongue. Don't act so worried. I'm not ditching you just yet. I look back and pop the door open, hit the light switch and watch as the dim orange glow flickers on. It looks like you get plenty of kids on this street. Oh yeah, I rarely have leftover candy. And that's too bad, I would have liked to steal some. You're lucky then. Oh, why's that? I have a stash just for myself and I might be willing to share. That doesn't have to mean you'd have to make a plans to see me again. I guess so. Lucia steps closer. I can smell the faint remnants of a pumpkin espresso aroma swirling around her. Her gaze drifts downward from my eyes and traces my lips. I don't like that. Is she? Boo. An eruption of laughter echoes from across the street. A group of trick-or-treaters were trying to scare their friends and ruin this precious moment. Lucia adjusts the strap of her purse, clearly flustered. I've been thinking about our next date. Can't help but smile when she says date. You have? Yep. Maybe we could go with something casual. Coffee wasn't casual? I'm into the topics. I'd love to know what your favourite music is or what your childhood pets were like. I want to know more about you. My heartbeat quickens. I like where you're going with that. I can do simple, as long as you spill some details too. I want to hear all about your past. Ex-boyfriends, adventures, everything. Lucia begins to fidget again, this time with a necklace. Well, you won't have to worry about her boyfriends. She seems anxious about the admission. As a relief, no competition. Try my best to make her laugh, but all I get is a grin. Worth it. Do you like horror movies? Oh yes, although I'm more into ghost stories, slashers aren't my thing. Alright. Did you want to come over tomorrow night? We can eat candy and watch a haunted house film. Her eyes light up. I'd love to. Great, it's a plan. Although I do have one question for you. What is it? Should I expect flowers? Always. I guess I'd better buy a vase. A vase if you're American. Don't be silly, I can bring one. Lucia reaches into her purse and taps at her phone. It's getting late, I should head home. I think I should head home even. There is something else I wanted to say before you go. Okay. It's that if you do change your mind about us seeing each other again, it's okay. Oh, why do you say that? Because meeting you was a blessing either way. You made me see myself so clearly. I used to think that I'd never made a step forward, that my grief hadn't changed. Today you were a mirror into my past. I can finally see that I've been doing whatever I needed to. I'm growing. So, blue roses and fate aside, you lost your sister this week. I'd rather you lean on me and not the other way round. I also want you to take as much time as you need before we see each other again. If you wake up tomorrow and can't get out of bed, that's natural. I'm not in a rush. I'll wait for when you're ready to spend time together. Put yourself first. Lucia nods. Thank you for saying that. But just so you know, you can't get out of our date that easy. I expect chocolate bars and lollipops tomorrow night or you're in a bigger trouble. Good to know. I'll be ready. Lucia bites her bottom lip absent-mindedly. I'm glad that I found you today. I can't wait to get to know you better. Lucia inches closer to me. A good night to Elle. And there you go. Heartwarming scene for you. Oh. Lucia wraps her arms around me in a warm embrace. I think you're an amazing person. Thank you for today. Yo. I smile. No, thank you. I'm glad that you found me, Lucia. I squeeze her tight. Good night. So I guess we got a good end there. Yeah? We got a good end. The two are together. And, yes, old Elle managed to overcome the feelings. Oh, wait a minute. Is there more? Oh, no, it's the credits. I thought there was going to be another scene then. Well, there you go, Sam Kerr. I hope you, well, assuming you've seen this video, I hope you enjoyed watching me play that. It was a very heartfelt little story. Very good stuff. And I hope you guys watching enjoyed that too. So yeah, it reminds me though, Starlight Shores, the other game that this dev team has created, I should probably take a look at that at some point and actually see how it is. I'm sure it's quite a good game. So good job all you background artists and sprite artists and whoever else we've got on this, programmers and all that. Brilliant stuff. And yes, I know technically this was more of like a Halloween game, and therefore I should have probably done it a couple of days ago, but it's fine, better late than never, I guess. Melon Pan. God, don't say that, that makes me think of that one channel on YouTube. Good stuff, ladies and gents. Well, in that case, I think there probably won't be much more of this credit sequence, to be honest. Special thanks to Nane Leah, Spooktober Game Jam hosts and judges. Oh, must have been made for a game jam then, this. Thank you for playing. Thank you for making this game, dev team. Good stuff. I imagine it probably fades to main menu again. Oh! Just a final scene with the blue rose. Golden morning light trickles across my windowsill. Good thing I didn't wrap up and do an outro there, otherwise I would have missed this. What a beautiful sunrise. Well, actually I wouldn't have missed it, I could have just hit the record button again. What a beautiful sunrise. For the first time that I can remember, I'm glad to see a new day. I snuggle under the covers to enjoy one last second of warmth. I sigh. Instead of angry words, anxious dreams or dark cravings, there's only one thing on my mind. One person. I imagine her in the room with me. What would that be like? Maybe I'd make her pancakes? We could sit down for breakfast and chat the morning away. I bet she'd love a coffee. The fantasy warms the forgotten ice in my heart. Despite being alone, I want to say it. Good morning, Lucia. I'll see you soon. It's a promise to myself, one I intend to keep. Yeah. Text me with pictures of your sexy Halloween costume. No, let's not ruin this moment. Hey, there we go. We did it. I guess the memories then, yeah, is all these things. Oh, it's even got like the notebook entries. Okay, so there's a couple of scenes obviously there that I didn't get, which probably might be notebook entries in and of themselves. I'm guessing that's probably where there were sort of dialogue choices over there. Well, there you go. Hope you enjoyed that then, ladies and gentlemen, and hope you, would potentially look forward to seeing me play Starlight Shores, if and when I get around to doing that. In the meantime, I'll wrap up here. So Facebook and Twitter links down below, along with the links to my propagandist channel for anyone interested. If you enjoyed, a like is always appreciated, and go and show the devs a bit of support, because they certainly like to write these very heartfelt stories, and they're very enjoyable, pleasant little things to play. Goodbye, everybody. Clearly it didn't go well. Oh, jeez. Well, hello there. This is the laundry room, apparently. Yeah, we always seem to get fan service every so often, don't we? Katoa slightly crept into the laundry room. I can't speak all of a sudden. Oh right, we're getting all the fan service, it seems. To her chagrin, the captain and the doctor are already there, both with disappointed expressions. Oh, hey guys, what brings you here?
This is all your fault!
Okay, Sarah's just going straight for the B word, it would appear. You bit! Erica stretched out an arm in warning.
What the hell?
Yeah, I was going to change this one. Yeah, Katoha, I saw the security video. We know what you did. Oops. It was just supposed to be a prank, you know. It wasn't supposed to be all that mushy. I just wanted to cover you guys in a dry flour, like in those older prank videos.